Yes.
Delighted to say joining us now is a man who lifted titles in the Netherlands, Spain, of course scored a title-winning goal for Antwerp in 2023. He's also a two-time Champions League finalist and was capped a whopping 127 times by Belgium. And more importantly, after retiring, he proved he can also hold a tune as he went on The Masked Singer, dressed, as you do, as an owl.
It was only a kiss. It was only a kiss.
And Belgium take the lead. The goal scorer, Tottenham's Toby Alderweireld.
It's Tottenham 2, Manchester City 1. Toby Alderweireld with the header at the near post.
For me, Toby and Vertonghen go in my top 5 Premier League partnerships.
Tottenham 1, Arsenal 1. Toby Alderweireld with his 3rd strike of the season in all competitions.
He's a natural quality that he has for many, many years. I remember Toby in every club that he was playing.
The big defender, Alderweireld.
Toby.
So excited. When we came in today and we knew our next guest was on, both me and Andy were very excited. What a treat to welcome Spurs, Southampton, Belgium, and of course, Masked Singer legend, Toby Alderweireld, to the Breakfast Show. Toby, good morning to you.
Morning, Toby.
Good morning.
How are you laughing at the fact that I mentioned you were the owl or Alan Brazil's pronunciation of your surname?
Both. No, I'm very excited to be here. Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
How lovely to have you on our show. First things first, what are you up to at the moment, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I'm doing a lot. When I retired, I'm on TV shows. I'm doing some pundit work. I have my own liquor company, and 2 weeks ago, I bought a share of my own club, my old club, Antwerp. So busy times.
Okay,
Fantastic.
so just go back to the liquor company. What kind of liquor is it?
All sorts of course, now we have the non-alcoholic as well, because that is booming. We have some gin, amaretto, limoncello. So it's going very well in Belgium. And we went abroad as well to Holland. So we try to expand, but everything needs time, of course, but we're doing our best.
Was business, Toby, something you wanted to get into when you finished playing?
Not really, because I never had in my head, I want to have a liquor company or something like this. But some guys who made it, friends of mine, they're very good at it. So they thought, maybe Toby, you can help a little bit. The quality was that good, and if I do something, I want to do it 100%. So that's why I joined them and be a part of this wonderful story.
Let me just check with the post. Has any arrived for us yet? There's none out there yet. Okay, I'm sure that would change. Right, Toby, listen, we're honoured to have you on the show. We've got so much to talk to you about. I suppose we should start by talking about your former club, Tottenham. What have you made of Spurs over the last couple of years? Of course, they've been fighting relegation, which is nothing like what was happening when you were at the club. You were getting to Champions League finals and knocking on the door of Premier League titles. What have you made of their form over the last 2 seasons?
Yeah, of course, not easy. The only positive thing is the trophy, of course. That's good, finally. On the other hand, you see that the team is struggling, and they don't have the same standards anymore than we had. I think when I arrived, almost every season we got in top 4. We like you said, we challenged for the title. Unfortunately, we didn't win it, but I think there was difficult times as well, because we White Hart Lane, we went to Wembley, then we went to the new stadium, but still we did well. And now you see that it hurts a little bit in the last 2 years, but I see some difference now. The transfers that they did, it's all positive. I think it's Premier League proven players, because that's something you need, because of course you cannot have a season like last season.
Just go back to the beginning of your answer there. You said they don't have the same standards that you had when you were there. What do you mean by that?
I mean, my feeling is that, of course, I'm not every day in that group, and it's easy to say this where I am. But my feeling is, in my time, everyone was so proud to play for the badge. We worked so hard. We did everything for the club, and sometimes that's something I miss. You see you hear some things, you read some things about the captain, and he's not there, and then they get a red card, and you don't feel like they are really involved. But again, it's easy to see it from the outside. But that's what in my period was totally different.
Do you think Roberto De Zerbi can get to those levels, Toby, that Maurizio Pochettino did? Do you think he can set those standards?
Yeah, you saw from the beginning straight away. He had a good connection with the fans. He changed the mentality, and now with some transfers and the way he wants to play, it's positive football. I think he's the right manager at the right time for Spurs. So yeah, I really think he can go back to, like I said, the standards from a couple of years ago.
Toby, when you were talking about your captain is there, then he's not there, I'm guessing you're referring to Cristian Romero. Have a listen to what Dean Saunders said on The Breakfast Show on Friday about him.
Romero is up there with one of the worst captains in the history of the Premier League. Spurs have finished 17th 2 years running. He was the captain, so he can't be that good, can he? And he's an absolute liability on the pitch. He's a walking red card, and his behaviour in the World Cup after the whistle went sums him up.
What are your thoughts on that, Toby?
First of all, I think he's an unbelievable player. On his day, you see it with Spurs, Argentina. He's so good. The other thing is, for me, I'm not going to say how I see a centre back. You have to have a standard from 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, you know. And sometimes he's 10 out of 10, and sometimes, yeah, with a red card or with some sort of action, you think, that's not what the team needed now. For me, the centre-back pairing is so important in the team. If you compare, Romero with Jan and myself, I think, yeah, that's a big difference. You know, we were like, how you say this? You can count on us, and that's for me the most important thing. And like I said, Romero, an unbelievable player, but sometimes he wasn't there.
No, very true. And Toby, the back four that you played in at Spurs, yourself and Jan Vertonghen, Danny Rose, Kyle Walker, these sort of players, that when you had that, and you must have felt that you're giving the team every chance with a defence like that, and how solid and how terrific you were as a four, it always gives the team a chance to go and win games.
Yeah, for sure. But I think we were scary. If like the names you said, but then in front of us we had Moussa Dembele, Victor Wanyama, Eric Dyer.
Yeah,
that was a proper team. You know, we were physically so strong. Pochettino made us very, very fit, and all the guys had a good mentality. They worked hard. They didn't complain. We did everything the manager asked us to do, and that's what you saw from second one. We were pressing, we were fighting, we were physically strong, and of course we had the quality as well. Yeah. Think about Jan Vertonghen, Moussa Dembele, Christian Eriksen. Those are very, very good players.
Toby, that team was certainly one of the best Tottenham teams for a long, long time. You of course had Harry Kane in it as well. I think Dele Alli was part of it. I mean, it was a brilliant, brilliant team. What do you think that season? And in and around those seasons, you knocked on the door of the Champions League. The year Leicester won the Premier League, you could have won it. What do you think you lacked? What was the missing link between you getting over the line and not? Was it a lack of investment in the squad, do you think?
It was not an easy period because when I arrived, I think it was 5 or 6 years ago that they arrived to the Champions League. So I think sometimes it needed time, and I think we were getting there. Before Spurs was happy. We are top 4, happy. But Pochettino changed everything. They said, look, we're not only competing to get in the top 4, we're competing for winning the title. Of course, we were not ready yet, but you saw us taking steps. And of course, it was not easy as well to go to Wembley. It was not our home to change stadium, but still we did well. And sometimes you need a little bit of luck. But I think that the season that Chelsea won the league, I think we had the most points ever as a Spurs team. So sometimes you need a little bit of luck as well, and we didn't. But I think we set a new standard for Spurs. And of course, everyone's talking, he didn't win a trophy. But if you see how we played games, that we compete for top 4 and the title, I think that was a big change for Spurs.
Toby, there was a tag attached to Tottenham at the time, I'm sure you're aware of it, called Spursy, which of course has since disappeared because Spurs won the Europa League 2 seasons ago. Were you aware of it as a player? Were the players in the dressing room aware of the Spursy tag, and did it affect you at all?
Of course, we read stuff as well, we hear stuff as well, and it only gave us more fuel to fight and to perform. But know that the Premier League is very tough. That's the easy thing to say. And again, we were very unfortunate to not win something for sure.
Okay. Just a quick word about this Tottenham side, then we'll move on to international football, if that's okay. How do you think it's a big season ahead for Tottenham? They've really strengthened well. There's no, I can't see in a million years that they have another season as poor as they've had for the last two. What do you think realistically the expectation should be for Tottenham this season?
Yeah, of course. As an ex-player and a fan, I want them to go for European football, and I think you need to go for it. You know, if you're realistic, if you just mid-table will be fine, and we go from there. I think you need to set the level so high. You know, so high. Go for maximum that's in your potential, and use last season. Use all the comments, all the laughing. Use it to perform and to work so hard every day, and maybe it can change quick. It's a new season. Everyone starts with 0 points, and let's hope they go for European football or more.
Yeah, let's move on to Belgium, the national team, Toby, because you were part of a squad that there was many expectations on you. Lots of people felt that you had a wonderful squad and that you could potentially go and win some of these major competitions. They come up a bit short in the quarterfinals again in the summer. Why is it that Belgium, with so many good players, just can't seem to maybe get over the line?
Yeah, I think if you refer to the World Cup 2018, we were the unbelievable squad. We lost the semi-final against France. We had some unbelievable games, and now I think before this World Cup, if you asked every Belgian player or fan, or they will sign for the quarterfinal. But yeah, I think there's still potential, and against Spain we lacked a little bit of quality, I think, to go through. And yeah, of course we knew they won it. But yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy to perform at the World Cup. And I think we are in a little bit of a changement. The golden generation, they say, is going, and there's a new generation coming. And I think quarterfinal is not bad.
I agree.
Just a quick one, Toby, from me on one of your former teammates, Harry Kane. How good a striker is he? We've got the Ballon d'Or coming up soon. Do you think he should win it?
For me, yes. I'm going to tell you why. Because before is always people who are very quick, good dribbles and stuff like this. And of course, the Messis and the Ronaldos. But Harry is so good. Of course, he's a goal scorer. But on the other hand, he's a real team player. He makes the team play better. Everyone's talking about that he's dropping more into midfield. But his positioning is so good when you are under pressure and you want to get some breathing time. You put the ball to him. He uses his body so good. So yeah, he's a very very good striker. I think one of the best in the world, and he's very complete.
What did you make, just finally, Toby? What did you make of England in the World Cup, and of course in that game against Argentina, 1-0 up, only 20 minutes left, and the changes that were made by Thomas Tuchel? What was your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit strange because, of course, I understand sometimes if you 1-0 up, you want to get more in defense and make it more hard to go through. But on the other hand, you need to have a different. If you have the ball, you need to hurt them because you're going to take more risks. They're going to put more bodies in front of the ball. And then if you defend well and put some quick people in front to hurt them, then it's very difficult. Because I speak as a defender. If everyone's close to the box, it's easy to defend. But go with 50, 60 yards behind you with for example, Rashford or someone like this. Put even a long ball, and something's going to happen. But now, for me, they only had thinking defend, and that was, I think, the mistake they made.
Were you surprised he made that mistake? Because obviously we had Gareth Southgate beforehand, and those were the mistakes a lot of people were suggesting cost him his job. And then we've got Thomas Tuchel, who's a born winner. He's won, of course, the Champions League, and that was why we brought him in to win the semi-final and the final. And then it looks like he makes similar mistakes to that of Southgate. Were you surprised he made these mistakes?
Yeah, I was surprised, but because he's a manager who's always thinking about positive football. And again, I understand that you put more safety in it, but you need to have a second plan. If you have the ball, you have to do something. But now to just kick it, no one was there, only Harry. But yeah, he was on an island, and then you get the pressure, more pressure. So yeah, I thought he would have done better.
Toby, I've got to ask you, I always ask players when they've recently retired, who was the best you played with in your career? If you had to single one player out, who would be the best that you played with? And you played with a lot of very good players.
Yeah. It's a name that everyone is saying, and everyone is always a little bit surprised. But the best player that I ever played with was Moussa Dembele.
Oh, right. Wow.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So underrated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was so good. He was strong.
He was
If he
strong,
had the
yeah.
ball, you couldn't take the ball out of him. The only small thing he lacked was maybe shooting to the goal. But the other parts, defensively, everything, and how good the guy is, he's my top number one.
It's so interesting you say that, right? Because I think he's one of the greats, right? I think Tottenham fans now realise he's one of the greats. At the time, did you realise he was that good?
Yeah, for sure. Because I need to train every day with him. No.
You could give him
so good.
Give him the ball under pressure, Toby, couldn't you? You could pass it to him anywhere.
That's it. When I always say the same example. When you play a big away games and there is pressure on you, for example, Chelsea away, City away, he's the guy in midfield who asks the ball and you can play to him.
Yeah.
Because some players they play hide and seek. They ask the ball, but not really asking the ball. But he's the guy who asks the ball and say, "Give it to me, and I will do something, and I will help." And that's as a defender, it's because especially when clubs put pressure on you, you know, oh, this is the guy I can play the ball to, and he will hold it for me.
Yeah.
Toby, I could speak to you for the next 2 hours. What an absolute pleasure and an honour. Thank you so much for your time. Are you ever in London? Are you ever coming over? Because we'll be honoured to have you in the studio at talkSPORT.
Yeah. I get some questions now to go to London more and more. Last week I was in London for something with Spurs. So if you want me, I'll take the Eurostar. It's lovely traveling with Eurostar.
We will do that.
I'd love to come.
We will do.
Yes.
I talk on behalf of management. We will pay for that Eurostar. Look at the faces in it. We will pay for that ticket. Toby, listen. A lot of my fans, my mates, are Spurs fans, and they all ask me to pass on that they're huge fans of yours and what you did for their club. They all adore you and love you. You're a proper Spurs superstar. So. On behalf of all of them, well done for your brilliant career in England. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Toby.
And my last question,
so
if you had the choice between Spurs winning the league or going on the Masked Singer again, what would it be?
Spurs winning the league.
Okay, it's close though, right? It's close.
For sure.
Maybe not. Toby, have a lovely day. Thanks for your time, pal.
Thank you so much.